message is for the trans girl.
Boom.
Hi, everybody.
Hey.
We are live. Let's see. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Black Trans Women Inc. We're gonna have a very special conversation today. Hi, everybody. Black Trans Women Inc. We're gonna have a very special conversation today, and I'm really excited to be able to sit down with my big sis Diamond. Of course, always happy to be able to work with you more and learn from you more as well. And
how was your week going in all these crazy times? How was your week going? Like, we going through, they so much craziness.
I definitely did have my share of crazy for the rest of the year. Okay. Yeah.
And so for the rest of my life, child, I honey. I am so happy to be here with you today because, I think this is going to be a fun conversation. I've been having heavy conversations all week. I've been in a meeting, a national kind of trans strategy meeting with a lot of trans leaders this week. And, I'm dealing with a death within my chosen family, and he was estranged from his family because they were homophobic. And now that he's passed, they have like control over his services, and it's just becoming a whole big old thing. So that's the negative stuff that I have going on, but I'm so happy to be here with you because this is not a negative conversation. I see your beautiful face and we're gonna have some fun.
I definitely, everything in the news, everything and just, that we're all kind of dealing with for sure is in a dastardly state right now. But I kind of had a crazy weekend, but I am very sorry about you losing one of your kids. And we was dealing with a death here, so we promised the people some lighter conversations this month. So
that's the trans life. We got to deal with the bullshit and create moments of positivity as we are navigating the world, and we deserve them.
And we deserve autonomy and to make decisions about our bodies without feeling pressure to do so. We deserve to not have stigma surrounding our bodies as trans women, as trans femmes. And I'm really excited for this. I've always wanted to do a conversation like this, Diamond. Like I always wanted to talk about it. Today, y'all, we are gonna be talking about the all-time the poetic question of to tuck or not to tuck. When we're talking about tucking, we're talking about tucking or contouring your genitals.
That's a nice way to say it.
I like that. I just got that from this article. I really like that. But it's something that, and I tried to get a few of my friends and ladies to join us, but it's something that was kind of even hard, Diamond, to even ask because I'm not sure if I would offend people by asking them for this specific conversation. But the ladies that I asked weren't offended. But it took a little special selection. You know what I'm saying? And, and I don't know. I do think that you have to go, a while in the life or experience different things, like and find what works for you to have a conversation. Like I don't necessarily know if it's a conversation I don't know, for somebody that hasn't necessarily gotten to that place or done it for I don't know what it is amount of time and stuff. Yeah.
And it is a personal conversation because, I wouldn't ask this of some trans person that I didn't know, but it's a personal conversation that I think me and my girls can share. It's also a conversation that, for me, it shows kind of the advancement and different generational differences when it comes to how the culture is shifting and the direction that we are going. And I'm an old head that doesn't find that direction to be negative. I have heard kind of like some some negative opinions from some of the people in my age bracket or older. But for me, I think some of the conversations of the younger folks is going in a direction that can free us all. And so this is one of those type of specific conversations that I would like to just explore. So
me too. I think if you don't mind, I'll just read basically that paragraph I had read before the introduction. This is from an article from Pride and Practice. And it's just gonna explain for everyone to be on the same page about what tucking is, and then I'm gonna read like this list of concerns that they listed on the site, and then we're just gonna talk about it and our personal experience, but also like you said, like that culture shift and wanting people to embrace their bodies, and how do we practice that. And how do we invest more in that and not just have it be something that we're tossing around like, oh, we're body positive, just as something we tossing around, as opposed to something we're actually, growing in and for ourselves and in a especially just for women, period, for women and trans women and femmes, period, to just embrace our bodies and to love them. And I think that's I don't know. I think that's one of the hardest things as a woman, because just period across the board, we're taught to, reach towards beauty standards and things that aren't, necessarily realistic or based off of our body types or, our skin and different things like that all the time. And so you're always, even from a young age, receiving those messages and having to make your decisions based off of that. And so okay, genital tucking is a practice employed by some transgender women and gender nonconforming individuals to minimize or hide the contour or bulge of their genitals, creating a flatter and more feminine appearance. For many people, tucking is immensely helpful in relieving gender dysphoria, and allowing them to wear clothing that affirms their gender. Others use genital tucking in order to wear drag and perform in drag shows. There are a wide variety of methods used to tuck, involving the use of athletic tape, tight underwear, and/or specialized supportive undergarments called gaps. And so they do have safety of genital tucking for gender nonconforming patients on this particular article. And there are some ones that you can kind of, automatically kind of think about that might come to your mind about doing so. But I don't know, even those things that we would assume about tucking also need, exploration. And yeah. And so
so let me ask you this. What is, how old are you?
I'm 32, Diamond.
Okay, so 32. So we
started with me.
So in your mindset, when you started your journey in walking in your truth, what was your mindset about tucking? What was your mindset about it?
I think we gotta say, like, gender dysphoria is what causes a lot of us to have to battle depression and anxiety, and it is something that pushes us into being transgender and being trans and pursuing body modification, pursuing hormones. Those things are reconstructive. Those things are medicine. Those things help us to dispel and alleviate the gender dysphoria. And so honestly, though, man, I don't know. It's like a funny way to say it, but I've never used boy language for my body. When I was pre-transition, I feel like I just saw myself as androgynous. I just saw myself almost in an agender type of way, like, I know I'm not a cis woman. I know I'm not like my peers that are in my birth gender. And so I don't know. I think it took me until I was trans to embrace my body, or I don't know, even really conceptualize and look at myself as a sexual being. You know what I mean, fully or for myself. And yeah, so for me, I don't know. When I started, I just wanted to take my presentation to the next level when I started transitioning. And to me,
what do you mean?
A natural progression.
Just for a little bit of clarity, when you say boy language, because somebody's asking that question, when you say boy language, what do you mean by boy language?
I mean, all while I was growing up, one thing that people don't know about being trans is that just like people might have bias, people are also contributing to it. We're not socialized. I wasn't socialized the way a typical person born a male at birth is socialized. You know what I'm saying? I leaned towards girl things and was allowed to do so. You know what I mean? Within, acceptable reason at the time. And I haven't done nothing that was boyish since I was like 10, and so for me, that's what I mean by boy language is I never used, like, once I got to sexual age, so like after 10, and I'm already pretty much living like a girl, but just not claiming that as my gender, or I'm living in an androgynous way, like I said.
So we're not, and just to be specific, and I don't want to be triggering, so we're not calling our PP a dick or penis, and
that's exactly what I'm saying. Is I never called it that though. Okay. Like I never felt like that. You know what I mean? Or would say like, even like I said, considering myself as a sexual being, I would never see myself in a way that a man would see themselves having sex. You know what I'm saying?
Interesting.
That makes sense. So yeah, so for me, I don't know. Honestly, I always say pussy. It don't matter what's going on down there, honey. It's pussy, okay? But that's what I mean. Is when it took me going to therapy to realize that. So even after transitioning, I went to therapy, and one time we was talking about when I did started transitioning and how I got to where I was when I started therapy. And I realized it. I just realized it on my own. Like I never really said or used my body or that language in that way.
So for me, I guess I'm the opposite of you. I am one of them people that I say all the time that when I was growing up, I didn't really suffer from a acute sense of gender dysphoria. Like I didn't hate my body. When I looked in the mirror, I didn't hate it. I didn't, and I think I attribute this to my mother. And why that is because from the time I was born, my mother has always told me that I was pretty. She's always told me that I was smart. She's always told me that I was the best thing since sliced bread, the best thing since Corlard, the best. She made me feel like I was the best. And so
you need that.
Yes. And so I didn't have room because I had this type of mother. I didn't have room to say, ooh, I hate my body. Yeah. I didn't really have room to say that. I can't say that once I got into my teenage years, preteens, I can't say that I loved it. I knew that there was a difference because I would see my girl cousins, I see my boy cousins, I see my boyfriends, and I knew there was a physical difference in me between me and a cisgender girl. And I didn't know that it was even the possibility of change. And so when I got older, and I remember my very first time understanding that it was a possibility to change, I was on a bus stop and there was two trans girls talking. And I was a kid. I was like a preteen catching a bus to like some school thing or whatever. And these trans girls, like, I clocked them and was like,
they was the girl.
I was like, oh, you can do that? You can change?
That's how a lot of people transition, and myself too.
And so I started
other trans people.
Yeah, I started looking stuff up. I started sneaking to the clubs because I heard them say this club called Betty Boop, and I looked in the white pages of it, and it was the first gay club that I ever went to. And you get what I'm saying? It just made the possibility blow up in my mind, like, oh my God, this is possible. I didn't know about hormones because I'm a kid. I don't know about that shit. And so I didn't know about things that you can do to change your bodies, get implants and getting things like that. And so once I got into the scene, then you get introduced to the rules of what you are. Like you get introduced to other people's idea of the rules. Like, you know, you're not a girl if you ain't got no titties. You're not a girl, you know, all these kind of restrictions. You're not a girl if you topping boys. All these rules about how you as a trans woman, just like we do, just like society does cis women, our culture has these rules of how you are supposed to act as a trans woman. And so when I get into the life, I learned that this is how you're supposed to tuck. You are not supposed to be rocking around with your tuck out. That is just not culturally okay with us because we are trying to convince the larger society that we are like them. We are just normal women, and running around with your tuck out screams freak, drag queen, and and we are trying to literally separate ourselves from drag, separate ourselves from that kind of freak idea that we don't belong in society. My generation and pretty much generation before me, the idea was to conform and assimilate into society so that you can blend in, so that they can see you as one of them, so you're not just bucking up against the system and shaking it up. And so tucking was a part of that conformity. It was a part of that assimilation. It was something that I started to do, and now I can't remember not doing it.
Right. Me, I'm kind of like there. Like I don't know. I definitely don't do it 24/7 every minute of the day, wearing a tuck or tucking, and but I always have done it. And for me,
so when does that?
When I started transitioning, I started with hair. I wanted to take my presentation and how I look to the next level. And so for me, not in a beauty standard way, but just in a being my best self way, it's always been about how can I take the look to the next level? How can I look my best? And y'all know I love to be naked. So for me, it's a necessity to tuck, kind of. for the
so what you said that sometimes
wearing.
Yeah. You said that sometimes you don't do it all the time, every minute of the day. When does those times?
When I'm at home.
When you are home, you're not tucking.
Not necessarily. Okay. Yeah, but if I'm going out in public, if I'm wearing a dress, it depends on what you're wearing, too. A lot of times, you know, like if I'm wearing a dress or something, you know, I may not really tuck, but it's still giving that kind of imagery.
So so there's layers to it. So yeah, I totally get what you're saying, because there is the tucking that may require tape or may require.
I've never done the tape. You ever did the tape?
I have. I don't do it all the time, but I have. Like it saves, you know, you're going to the beach and you're going to have a 2-piece bathing suit on. That is when you're going to have the most extensive tuck. But if I know I'm going to be in this flowy A-line dress, I'm going to be tucked, but it's probably just going to be in like a loose bikini panty or something that's going to keep it back. It's not going to be flopping all around in regards to that. And then in certain circumstances, like when I'm traveling, I'm traveling on the plane, I am not tucked at all. I literally tuck before I go through the scanner so that scanner don't pick me up. And then I immediately go back to the bathroom and untuck. So I'm not cramped up for 4 hours on a plane sitting down in a fucking cab. I can't deal with that. It can be painful. It leaves fucking dents in your fucking, especially as a person who has silicone, it leaves fucking dents in your fucking skin. And then it make the top of your booty crack all raw and hurting. No, I don't like that. And I'm not doing that on the plane. but you feel what I'm saying?
Yes.
I will. I know.
feel
And
what
we
you're
having this
saying.
conversation out loud
Yes.
because this is some shit that we
Yes.
don't talk about publicly. I think it's
It
important for us
cause
not to be
pain.
ashamed to talk about.
Yeah. It does cause pain. I call it the pinch. I call it the pinch.
Yeah.
Most of the time I'll be okay, but every once in a while you had a pinch or you had a slip. Them the two
That
things
one
you gotta
little-
watch out. Okay.
That one little slither of
Yes.
your scrotum that the seam of the tuck is cutting on, and you like, oh, I can. And then if you move, it hurt a little bit. Like you like, oh shit.
Yes, honey. Yeah, I
And you
gotta
gotta
go in there.
move.
I gotta go in there right now. I gotta go
Right
now. Okay. And then I did feel like I was overdoing it. So I've kind of pushed myself. That the tucking and wearing no makeup is two things that the last like 2-3 years I've kind of pushed myself to embrace more. Like I don't not, you know what I mean? I still ain't necessarily all the way comfortable being in public or being exposed doing it or something, but doing either one of those. But it's something that I push myself to do because I wanna again practice loving my body and not just saying that we love our bodies or saying that we body or sex or positive and those things. And so I've kind of pushed myself on it. But I don't know. To me,
So let me ask you this.
So the pain and those like those different things you just mentioned is like part of what I kind of desire in furthering my transition in gender reassignment. Just because, you know what I mean? If I wanna go out in a nice dress and don't have no panties on, I want to be able to really do that and really give like the looks like how the girls at the, you know what I mean, at the real big balls be giving and stuff. Like I want to, you know, like I said, I want to take just being my best self to the next level. And so I'm constantly thinking about how to do that. But, you know, it's still a lot of stigma and a lot of fear around whatever we do with our bodies. Whether we leave them natural, whether we modify them, whether we take hormones even, and whether or not we tuck. And I don't know, like when we mentioned the tape thing, I see that more as like a drag thing. I don't know how to do it. Like I never got shown how to do it.
That's my next question to you. So is because that goes along with somebody asked, so are we going to talk about how to tuck? We're going to talk about it, we're not showing you, but there's tons of resources in regards to that. But in the sense of, let me ask you, is there a proper way to tuck? Because I was taught that there was a proper way to tuck and there was an improper way to tuck. And so is there a proper way to tuck, and who taught you how to do it?
The girls taught me when I started,
specifically, not just community.
My best friend,
who in your life?
I started my best friend Chloe. I've had her on twice on the lives, and she started about 2, maybe even 3 years before I did, and she definitely inspired me, and her friends definitely kind of showed me what was possible. But it still wasn't something that I was embracing for myself for like I said, like 3 years. Like it wasn't something I still seen for myself. But you know, they showed me I take leggings. This is what they showed me, and this is what I still do. And it worked, right? I take a pair of leggings and I cut the band off the waistband of the leggings, and then I cut the legs up.
Come on, old school.
It's
yeah. Classic.
I'm wondering what the other kind of ways is too. And so but I've seen like people buy them from actual stores. I've never bought one or found one that I thought would be a good one to buy from an actual store or online store, but people do buy them and stuff like that, buy ones that are made already. But I've seen them made out of different materials. You know, the girls be making them out of socks. That's not the tea. I don't think that's the tea. I think that's too much.
I don't want to say what's not the tea, whatever works for you.
I think that's true. And it is about comfort.
So for
It
me,
is definitely
I
about that.
couldn't. I learned that method with the nylon, the stockings, and using the top of the stocking. I learned that method, but that method didn't work for me for some reason, and I needed something more sturdy for my piece. So I had to. And it's not like I got a nice piece. It's you know, it's ample size or whatever. So I needed something
Drive
that was that was
And
gonna
it's funny that you say the word peace though, because that's what I always say too.
so I always have I needed the denim. So what another old school method is for me to take the leg of a denim and with the legs of the nylon and I sewed them literally with my sewing machine and I sewed them to where that piece that is going between my legs, it is wide enough to cover the whole area and sturdy enough to where my bulge is not going to show on the bottom. It needs to be flat. And so just regular nylons didn't do that because it still left like a little where my meat was kind of looking like a little, I ain't like that. I wanted it to be flat. So I needed the denim because denim is more sturdy and I needed it to be wider. And so that was my way of adjusting that. Now the taping had always, I have done it before, but it was just always too much work. You got to shave, you got to have the tape wrapped around the tissue certain way, wrapped around your scrotum, wrapped around your piece, and then put the little thing and pull it back and go it up against your butt. And then you got to spray adhesive it or, and you got to be fully shaved because the fucking tape will snag on your hairs and be hurting. That's just too much work for every day. I couldn't deal with that for every day.
Yeah.
Like I've done it, like if I know that I was going to a pool party, if I know that I'm going to something specific, I'll make sure I use the bathroom first. And then, you know.
The typing I know like more as a drag performance thing. And of course, you know, depending on what you're wearing, you might have to do it more and, you know, more than in some other things. And I don't know, it's funny that I told you this when we was planning this, that the girls used to talk about me. They used to make fun of me, but it's funny because of how I've grown with doing it.
What did they used to make fun of you about?
They used to say that they could see it or that they could tell. And stuff
you didn't.
But I mean, definitely, probably like right at the beginning. But they did that for a long time, girl. And it's funny because this like a few years ago, this like a few summers ago, Diamond. It was so funny. I was out with the gay boys, and they was like having their own conversation about whether or not I had surgery or not. And so bottom surgery or not. And so I don't know, it just was interesting to me. Like that was when I noticed that other people noticed the change or didn't think the same as what people said before.
That makes sense.
Yeah. And so that was a few years ago. Yeah.
And also I learned in my younger years about taking your testes and pushing, and I'm using that language.
Yeah.
But in pushing it up in that crevices behind your pubic hairs. And when I was younger, you know, like around, because I transitioned at 13, but between 13, between junior high and high school. And that summer. In that regards, I was putting everything back there, and so I'm like, oh, I'm sitting on it. It's painful or whatever. Yeah. But I literally, other people had to tell me, in order for you not to do that, you need to take your stuff and put it up. So my homegirl, she literally had me get naked. She was older, had me get naked, and literally took my piece and pushed them up there and pulled it back. And I was like, like, oh, what? I didn't know that was there. And so she was like, you do that, push it up. And then she took the tuck and put it up there, and it was so flat and so smooth and so blah, 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 blah. And I was like, whoa. Now,
I think mine, it kind of just, I don't know if it's from wearing it so long or if it's just, you know what I mean, my specific body, but they kind of always, the testy part always kind of did just kind of slip to that place. Like it always
now they
kinda
go there
went.
automatically.
Yeah,
Like
like
I'm
it
sitting
kinda-
down
it
and they're
kinda
there now.
happen
Yeah.
automatically for me. But when it ain't the right material, when it's not the right band, when it's not the right you know what I mean, feeling, or when you slipping, or you know, when you haven't quite got them in the right positioning, you could definitely tell. Like you could definitely like you could feel telling. Like it hurt. You know what I mean? And you be like, oh my God. You be like, oh my God. This wasn't. I thought I was good, but I ain't good.
also when I was way smaller, like skinnier in size, and I didn't have any body fat, you know, the hormones ain't kicked in and gave you that layer of fish body fat and all that kind of stuff. When I was smaller, even when I would have on skirts, you can see the two lumps right there in the front, even in the skirt. So it would be smooth like in jeans, but in the skirt, you can see the two lumps. But now that I am thicker and I have that layer of fat, it actually just like looked like a, you know, smooth monkey, baby.
Okay.
And so it looked smooth. But when I was younger, I didn't like when she told me to do it. I was like, oh, I see the logic of it, but I'm like, ooh, I still see the little knots right there. Where now that I put my fucking balls up there, it's like, ooh, I can see it. And so she was like, but that's how you supposed to do it. And then once you get on Moans, it'll just start looking better and better. And that is true. Once I got on Moans and it started to soften me out, it created a layer of fat under my pubes, and then it just smoothed out and just looked nice.
I definitely think as my body started to change with hormones that it became better. Do you think do you think that it affects our functionality, what we call functionality?
So on a biological level, how these body parts work. I know this. I want to reduce the shame of us talking about our bodies. So I'm going to be very direct, and it may feel funny, and I might do it in a comical way, but this is just, I want us to be honest and open. So how our penis and scrotum and testes, how biologically the male body works is the sperm is very sensitive to temperature. And so when it comes to temperature, like it needs to be, for it to be effective so the swimmers can get to the egg and blah, 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 blah on a biological level. Your body, based on the temperature it is outside, on the inside, and what it feels like, your body, your scrotum adjusts. So if it's cold, your scrotum tights up and get closer to your body because it wants to keep the sperm warm in your nutsack. And so if you notice when you get out of the shower and you done been in this hot ass water, your nuts is real saggy, and you know they're gonna be hanging a little bit further, which is the perfect time for you to check for testicular cancer. The perfect time to check. Make sure you do that. We have prostates, and if you are pre-op, we have prostates, and we have testes. So those.
How do you check?
There are different tutorials, but you know, you just feel around your testes, and I know these things can cause you know, triggers of gender dysphoria, but it's really imperative for you to do these things for health checks. You feel them and make sure that they're not any kind of unusual lumps and bumps and stuff like that. So it's really, really important for us to get our prostate checked. You can't check your prostate; you have to go to the doctor for that. But your testes, you can feel around, and there's tutorials on YouTube and different things that to know what to look for in regards to that. So take care of your body, because it's the only body that you have, even as you navigate gender dysphoria. So how our body works is, you know, if it's cold, they shrink up to us, and if it's hot, they get away from us, just to control the temperature that's happening in your sac. So when it comes to us, if we're constantly putting them up in our body, there's going to be a constant warmth and there's going to be a constant temperature, and that kind of natural control over our natural body's control over the temperature of the testes that we had, the sperm in our testes. That's it. But as far as like functionality, as far as our piece, that is really just based on the blood flow, hormones, and our libido in regards to that. It really has nothing to do with the functionality, but the actual temperatures of our sac and our sperm count and all that kind of stuff can be affected based on the fact that we tuck.
I think that
yes, Ella, thank you.
I think that I'm glad we are talking about it, and specifically like how do we get to where we can talk about it comfortably and talk about all of our body and not feel shame or feel pressure. And I don't know, people definitely will ask you about your body, and
I think it's inappropriate for people who don't know you to ask you about your body.
Yeah,
a personal friend, yes, somebody who has gotten close to you and wants to have questions, particularly another trans person who just have questions.
And we face them questions every day, and it is something that only somebody that's personal or somebody that's like a romantic interest or something should be asking even. And we know that that's not how people are. They ask questions like that every day. And I call them invasive. Like it's like an interrogation. Sometimes they care more about asking the questions than they do about the answer. You could tell them the answer and they don't even hear it or take it in. You know what I mean? But
it's a part of their fetishization
about their right to ask the questions.
And it's a part of their fetishization of our actual bodies and our focus on our medical transition and our focus on the physical parts of our transition instead of focusing on our lived experience and our mental health and our mental self. They're really focused on the body parts and the othering of us, like, ooh, how are you navigating this other space that we're not used to? And it's really because they are focused on that. It's not because they care about the answer. It's not because they care about us. It's because they care about the novelty that is being a trans woman. And so we got to be conscious of that. It's not always rooted in education. It's not always rooted in care. And so we got to be very, very conscious of that. And anybody asking you about your body that you don't know, cuss their ass out. So I want to ask you, so we're activists. So sometimes we're at rallies, sometimes we're at different events, and we come across people who have different ways of being in the world, and that is totally okay. And so recently I got to speak at South by Southwest in March, and I also got to do a rally in front of the governor's mansion here in Texas, because Texas is we're based in Texas. Our organization is based in Texas, and Texas is one of the ground zeros of trans attacks when it comes to our rights. And we go to the Capitol a lot in Austin just to kind of try to get them to veto legislation or not get it on the floor, whatever we need to do, testify, all that kind of. So we're there a lot here in Texas. And so we were at a rally in Austin in front of the governor's mansion, and they had a list of ton of speakers, and one of those speakers was Alok. Alok is a non-binary Indian non-binary person, and they are very adamant about breaking down the binary. And so one of the things that they do is I see them out in dresses and they are untucked and their bulge is showing. And for somebody who comes from the old school, that is a very, very shocking thing. And I know it comes with the shame around our body and comes with the rules that I said about earlier. I personally, because I am a binary person and I'm okay with the binary, because I think that it's okay for you to be non-binary, but it's also okay for you to be binary. But I understand that dismantling the binary system actually help people who don't fit into these stereotypes of what a girl is, what a boy is, what a woman is, what a man is, to be able to kind of flourish and be however they want to be in the world if we have more freedom around those binary rules. And so this is somebody who's kind of bucking up against that system. And so when I see it, it is shocking to me. It is shocking to me when I see trans people or non-binary people walking around in skirts and being untucked, because that's so against the culture that I grew up in. But I don't see it as a problem. I see it as them loving themselves. I see it as them making a statement about dismantling the binary, because, you know, in the same way that we see men kind of maybe it don't have anything to do with their tuck, but if they want to wear you know, something that's traditionally feminine clothing, a skirt, or, you know, things that have been happening recently, this is kind of them making a political statement. And so I wanted to ask you, how do you feel about these people who are kind of making that political statement with their bodies, and you know, going to these public events, taking pictures where they are untucked, knowing that they're going to get scrutiny online once those pictures are shared? What do you think is the purpose of it? What is your thoughts and feelings about it? And, you know, how does it pertain to yourself?
I think it is a statement, and I think it is, for me, when I see it, depending on the setting and the situation and what they have on, it can reach the level of shocking, like it can sometimes. But, you know, I think it's something that I identify as not being binary trans. And so I don't mind it on other people if they're comfortable. And it actually kind of, like I said earlier, it kind of make me, the reason why I kind of push myself not to do it as much, and like like wearing makeup all the time thing, is because it kind of that's part of, I think, what keeps people from transitioning sometimes, is we feel like we have to live
Be
up
perfect
to and be perfect cis women and live in the body of and in the vein of a cis woman,
and even cis women are battling against that box,
right, and keep reaching towards that. So for me, it's something that I almost kind of admire. It don't make me want to do it, but it does continue to make me question myself, like, in my transition, I don't want to be someone else's version of me. I want to be my best and look my best and feel my best and also be healthy. And how do I do that? And not just doing it for a look and all of that. And even giving myself more grace with that, like taking my time more to make sure that everything is right. You know what I'm saying? Excusing myself more when everything ain't right. And like those things. And I don't know. I think I definitely do personally have a lot of dysphoria and shame around using, like I said, AMAB language and for my body and different things like that. Like it make me viscerally uncomfortable. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it makes me uncomfortable. But for other people, it's not really something that I mind. And I like a little print. I don't think there's nothing wrong with a little print every once in a while. But this was something I wrote down for us is, do you think that some cis guys and even some trans guys and even some people that just people that who may not tuck, do you think that maybe they should tuck?
Let me say this.
Sometimes, yeah.
Let me say this too. I feel like it gives me the freedom, just to piggyback off what you said, it gives me the freedom to not have to be so perfect. Let me give you a perfect example. And sometimes it's not even in the realm of tucking. Sometimes it's particularly where I relate this to is in the realm of shaving and razor bumps and stubble is something that can really make a trans woman feel bad, and, you know, like, oh, I don't feel sickening today or whatever. So I remember, even if I didn't have anywhere to go, before laser, if I didn't have anywhere to go, I would be in that mirror taking that Gillette and do, and it would literally be causing me, because I'm shaving every fucking day, all day, to keep every little stubble gone, I would be getting fucking razor bumps and my skin would be horrible. But as you can see, I ain't got none of that shit. And one of the reason why is because I learned that I need to shave as least as possible, because I need to give that hair a chance to grow out so that when I shave it, it's not gonna have any ingrowns. It's just gonna be cut clean and it's smooth, exfoliated, all that kind of stuff. I need to make sure. So if I'm sitting in the house and ain't nobody coming to see me and I'm not going nowhere, I'm not fucking doing that. And I remember my gender dysphoria used to have me like, oh my God, I have to be perfect and I have to make sure. And so even when I'm fucking by myself, I would be doing these things that were actually harming my look. I'm running around having to put makeup on, looking like a fucking star crunch with these bumps all over my face because I'm shaving too fucking much. And you know what I'm saying? It was just too much. And so it makes me think about is, honey, these non-binary people running around with beards that are pushing this narrative that you should be able to be free to have a beard and free to do that. My little motherfucking stubble, if you see my little stubble, that ain't nothing. This motherfucker running around with a beard. So it gives me more room and gives me more freedom to even, do I want to run around with a beard? Hell no. That is not the type of woman that I want to present to the world. But because of genetics, because, I was AMAB at birth, I was going to have these issues that comes along with having hair on my face. And so there's going to, and laser, while it does work, absolutely, I have great results. But before these results kicked into play, even through the process of laser, there still was some stubble that was happening. There still was something. And also what people don't talk about is as you age, the things, how laser or how laser works and how electrolysis work, the hair that's already there, they can do what they need to do to kill it. But there's hairs on your face that are dormant that don't even wake up until you get to 35, 40. That's why you see older men with thick ass beards and younger men with thin beards, because over time, there's certain hairs that wake up. So if you got laser at 21, if you got laser at 20, 21, 22, yeah, you got them hairs that woke up then. But then when you get to 40 and some more hairs start waking up because you're older, honey, you got to get laser again. And so
I shave too much. And it's also something that I'm trying to start challenging myself on. And I've also been doing some fundraising and have gotten some grant funds to hopefully really soon be able to start providing laser hair removal as a service to Black trans women here in Milwaukee as a personal project. And I'm really excited about that, but it's taking forever. It's already like almost 2 years. And so of the work of me trying to get everything ready, but I'm really, really excited about it. And excited for the girls to be able to have that and experience it together. But one of the things I had to learn is in picking the best option for us. You know what I'm saying? Like Milan, laser hair removal, they have a lifetime warranty. And it's for that reason that you have to eventually come back. And this one thing, just about dysphoria and just about how people in the world and everything makes us feel, right? This is like not super long ago, okay? But I'm 8 years in or whatever, and I anyway, David, I shave every day, like pretty much. Like if I go somewhere for real, I shave every day, right? And so I actually like had like some family drama and some problems this specific day, and this person that I entertained for a moment came and they touched my face or whatever, and they was like, "You need to shave that," and I'm like, "Motherfucker, how dare you? You don't know that I shave every day. You catch me on the one day that I'm slipping and then have something to say." And that's how we feel. It's just a slap in your face. Like you don't understand that I overshave. Like I'm on purposely damaging my skin because I'm on purpose willingly overshaving, and even when I went for my consultation for electrolysis, I had an electrolysis consultation maybe 2 years ago, and the lady told me, she was like, you need to stop shaving every day. I'm like,
Yeah.
girl. I'm like, girl. I'm like, girl. But it is something that I've started to challenge myself on, and I am noticing some different results with my skin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that never happened to me with a guy, but it
Yeah.
has happened to me with my mom. My
Yeah.
mom, rest in peace.
Other people,
When I stayed with her, my mom would come in my room. I'm literally eyes just opening up, crust in the corner of my eyes. I'm literally waking up, and my mother would come in to talk to me about something, sit on my bed, and look at me and start the conversation. Then look at me and say, "Ooh, you need to shave."
I can see that.
I can see that
You
stubble.
can poke this in, cross
I'm
your
like,
legs, put a bra on. Girl, I'm laying down. I'm asleep.
leave me alone.
Yes.
And so I literally had to check my mama one time. I was like, mama, I don't need you to remind me about my transition stuff.
Yeah.
I'm the trans person. I'm the person with gender dysphoria.
Yeah.
Trust and believe I know every flaw, every single flaw that I have, everything that I need to do, that I need to fix, when I need to be presentable to the world. I don't need you to remind me every single time. So when you see my stubble and I'm sitting in the house, don't say nothing to me. Now, if I'm out in public and you see something, yes, say something, da-da-da. But if I'm sitting in the bed, mama, you don't need to be checking my fucking whiskers.
Okay.
Leave me
In
alone.
the wintertime, we don't shave. You know what I mean? Like, it get caught up here. I'll be like, oh my God. Even in the summertime and stuff, I'll be like, oh my God, I need to shave. Looking at myself, and I feel like I look hairy. But when I ask other people, they be like, nah, we can't see nothing that looks smooth. And da-da-da-da-da. Like, we're addressing our dysphoria and addressing what people are perceiving and their perception of us, and overshaving, whether it's your face, whether it's your body, and just overdoing it is something that I think we have to challenge ourselves to break away from. And another thing, like, about shaving your face or facial hair, I don't really grow shit. Like, I don't grow anything. Like, I don't really grow anything. Like, it would be ridiculous. Like, even if I went a full week or something like that, it still would be barely visible. You know what I mean? Me personally, but I can feel the stubble or feel it not being even or not being smooth, and that's what gives me the dysphoria and make me want to do something about it. But I know that other people can't. I know intellectually that other people can't necessarily see the hair unless it's somebody that is kind of
especially with makeup on.
Yeah.
Especially with makeup on. So that's one of the areas where I'm like, I feel like people who are on this like non-binary, break the binary kind of journey, it's really giving us as trans people and cis people. I want to be able, anybody who's watching this that may be cis or watch it later, I see we have 4 people watching, whoever may watch it later, wherever we post it. And even if you are cisgender, that breaking the binary allows you to be more free too, because we know some cisgender women with stubble, young
and cisgender women top, and women's can be top, and be versatile and be all the things they want to be.
So all these things allow us a little more freedom to how we can navigate the world. And, we are not the only one that's kind of dismantling this binary, butch, masculine lesbians, feminine men, and so on, and everything in between are also dismantling this idea that we have to be perfect. We have to be perfectly in the boxes of our gender. We are not. We did not transition to be in another box. We did not transition to not be free. That's what it started to feel like to me when I was younger. Not now. It started to feel like I broke this mold. I went against the grain and said, I loved myself so radically that I said I deserve to be happy in the body that I want to be in living the life and the identity that I want to live in. I love myself that radically. I cannot then go and be in a box and not be free from all the bullshit that other people, even cisgender people, are fighting against. I want to be free. I want to love myself however the iteration, the body that I have. Yes, I want to be pretty. I want to look good. I want to be smooth. For me, those are my ideals, but I don't want to be so strict on those rules that it's hampering the quality of my life. It's hampering how I see myself and my self-esteem. I want to be I want to be feminine, but I don't want that to be so strict that I can't not be flawed feminine.
Yeah.
That's what I mean.
And we are perfectly made and perfectly flawed. And I feel like, do you feel pressure being in the advocacy space and being in a representative and a mentor and role model and leader space for just presentation overall? Like, do you feel extra pressure? I do. I feel like, when we're often the first in a room, people are then judging us all based off of their interactions with one person, and they experience and experience the presence of one person or an organization or a group, or like they're walking away thinking that is the standard, or feeling that I don't know, that you have to meet that standard or meet something every time in order to be consistent. And then when I started, I think more of the pressure part when I started transitioning is that it takes the consistency to make people kind of respect your pronouns and respect your name too. You know what I mean? Like it does also take, and I don't know, feeling and I don't know, embracing, I don't know, and I'm not embracing the pressure, but remixing and putting a little stank on the pressure. You know what I'm saying? Is how we push back and how we, set the real standard. But I don't know, do you think that women in the field feel pressured about our presentation for that reason?
I do feel that women feel that pressure. I don't think that's exclusively to us.
Yeah.
I think when we're in public space, we want to put our best foot forward, and we want to look good, and we want to, first impressions are lasting impressions. We want to look good to people. And like we said, when it comes to trans people, how we are respected is really rooted in our consistency and rooted in how we present to the world. Mm-hmm. And so me, while I understand that noxious when I gotta every time get on camera with makeup on, with a full face of makeup, hair, titties pushed up to here, cleavage always out, so you can acknowledge my womanhood. I feel obnoxious, and I feel like that is also bondage and a prison, because cisgender women don't always have to do all of that to prove their womanhood. And I don't, not that they are the standard, but I just want to be free to be the type of woman that I am. Yeah. And so I feel obnoxious. Do I want to be sickening if I'm at the BTAC gala? Yes, I'm going to be fabulous. I love being sickening, but every time I get on a Zoom, sometimes I'm not gonna have a wig on. Sometimes I'm not gonna have a makeup. Sometimes I'm not gonna do that. So I'm not gonna have no bra on, because I'm comfortable in my home, and this should be comfortable. I don't want to have to always be perfect. I don't want to have to always be perfect. I literally decline video calls because I don't got a hair on. But I like seeing people's face. And so I don't even think about it. I'll be like, decline. I like seeing people's face and anger. And I don't always want to have to feel like I have to be perfect. And so for me, it is a balance. Yes, there is moments when I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to this event, and I know that this is an event that all the girl is going to be at. So I want to be fly. I want to be, I want to look good. I want to be present and look good. Mm-hmm. But I also know that to me, I don't want to be in that prison of where I always have to be perfect, and I always have to look a certain way, and always have to have makeup on, always have to have lashes, always have to have my nails done, always have to have a wig on, always have to have these rules of whatever the ideal of femininity that I am. I don't want to be in a box where I always have to do that. Yes, do I want to be fabulous? Sometimes, yes. But sometimes I want to be able to take a break from it and not be judged, and I'm not going to come to every Zoom call looking fabulous. Sometimes I'm going to have a t-shirt on. Sometimes I am going to be sickening. Sometimes I'm not. Sometimes I'm going to have a hat on. Sometimes I'm going to be whatever the woman that I want to present in the moment. That is what I'm going to be. And it doesn't make me less of a woman. It doesn't make me more of a woman. It don't make me less sickening because I'm going to be sickening regardless.
Regardless. And stop comparing us to each other. Stop comparing every light-skinned girl to each other, every dark-skinned girl to each other. Stop comparing us based off of our bodies or just all trans women and or non-binary people and grouping us all together. We all different. You know what I'm saying? Even in me and you having binary identities, like we said, we feel differently about those things. Like I feel more of I grew into being a woman. I didn't necessarily choose anything. You know what I'm saying? I didn't necessarily, none of us choose the path that God, sets us forward with. But I don't know. I feel like I identify as a binary trans woman because that's how I live my day-to-day life. I don't feel like my body is where I necessarily may want to go fully transitioning yet. And I don't feel like I'm a cis woman. So you know what I mean? I don't identify with having a queer and a non-binary experience, like gender wise.
Automatically.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? But I feel like I'm a woman because I earned being a woman. I'm a woman because I battle things and overcome them and live my life as a woman. You know,
and I'm a woman if I have Tim's tennis shoes, and this jogging suit, something that you may deem masculine. I'm a woman in that. I'm also a woman in heels and a skirt and blah blah blah. I'm a woman whatever I put on. No matter if I put on my boyfriend's men's shirt and tip around, I'm a woman in that. I'm a woman whatever I put on. And so for me, it is literally obnoxious. And when I see it, not just for myself, when I see people who always have to be perfect, it feels like it's a show. It feels like it's rooted in, you can't be normal. You can't be just a regular girl. You can't be, and then some people will say, well, this is my regular. Is it?
After our first big Pride March, girl, I started singing in the tub on my live in the tub because I needed personally something to re-energize me and to help me feel connected with people. You know what I'm saying? That was like still towards the beginning of COVID and everything like that. And so, and the social justice uprisings and everything. So, I needed something to feel connected and I needed something to re-energize me. And I also felt like I needed to show people me not presenting myself in this perfect way. Even though I don't think nothing I got going on is perfect.
Nobody.
I don't got nothing going on that's perfect. But I wanted people to see me without no hair, without no makeup, without no clothes, because I'm a real person. I'm not a tokenized caricature just because I'm a trans woman or because I'm visible or in the work or not, And I think that the girls need to, I felt like for me to connect with the girls, I feel like they but I feel like I need to be accountable to not being obnoxious with my personal presentation. And then one other thing, Diamond, we went to DC and when we came back, this is so random and weird, right? When we came back, we went to DC to represent Black trans women and Black trans people at the big Get Your Knee Off Our Necks march that they did that year at the Capitol. And when we was coming back, when we got on the plane, girl, it was this video of these young girls here. And it was at the gas station right down the street from my house, Diamond. And where we be going for years and years and years and always go to and never had no problems, right? And it was a viral video of these two guys like this one guy like ran up on one of them and then they start like kind of beating the guy up. And then this other man that had his phone and was recording it, pull his gun out on them or whatever, up his gun on them or whatever. And so, you know, it was a viral situation. They didn't get hurt. Nobody got hurt. But it just, I don't know. I know we all felt some kind of way about that. Like I said, it's right up the street from my house. You know what I'm saying? Like we frequented, you know, that specific place, the same place that they was in. And I'm just like, you know, I don't know. I don't know how all the time us as women who are further in our transitions, I don't know how that always impact other people and how they see other trans people and younger trans people or people that just starting to transition because they're seeing us so far along in transition too. You know, like I don't know if that's like kind of like what you're saying about saying that it's obnoxious. Like, is that helping?
No.
Or is that maybe hurting?
I think that no. I think the difference is that I don't think that there should be a rule in how you present.
Yeah.
I'm just sharing what is obnoxious for me and when I see it. But also sometimes cis people, particularly men, I think subconsciously and sometimes consciously, when they see us, we are a reflection of the freedom that they don't have.
Absolutely.
And that comes out in their violence, that comes out in their judgment, it comes out in the things that they say, their verbal violence. And I think that when they see us, it's like almost like a slap in the face. Like, I gotta live in this man box, and you literally, like, you went that far, and you know what I'm saying? I can't even fucking wash my tail without somebody saying I'm gay. I can't even watch a show without somebody saying I'm gay. I can't even do something simple. Honey, eat my food a certain way eat a salad without somebody saying that I'm gay, because you know, even eating meat is seen as a manly meat and potatoes meal. Eating, it's masculine to eat meat. Like if I want to eat a healthy salad, I look feminine. So they can't even eat well and take care of their bodies and be themselves in that kind of way without being judged and being in this man box. And so, you know, they see us and it was like, you living in this world this free? Of course I got to take you down a peg and let you know, that's added on top of the religious stuff to make them judge us. But of course I got to let you know that you are an abomination, or you are, not doing what you're supposed to be. I got to police you.
I got to put you in your place.
In your place, yeah. So I think that sometimes it's that.
I love that you said, like, just how the binary it impacts all of us, and that people see liberation in us, and definitely that we're inspiring, definitely like for in more ways than just surrounding gender and sexuality, and that we're inspiring, that we're talented, and that we survivors, and people can tell that, and they hate it, you know what I mean? And it makes you question yourself, and it makes you question, how am I living? What am I doing? And if they can be that brave, if they can be that visible, if they can be that sure of themselves and who they are, what am I doing?
And we can see that and we can see that in those people the same way that the cisgender people can see it in us being powerful and being who we are. We could actually see it in those non-binary people that's running around being untucked. Like, because if you can run around like that and deal with the scrutiny and the shame and the and being free in that kind of way, of course my little stubble ain't nothing. Because you run around with your dick out. So of course this ain't nothing. So it gives us an idea of a whole way and level of freedom that we may not see in our regular everyday life. So to wrap up, what are some of your closing thoughts in regards to this conversation, and what do you want to leave people with?
Just that we shouldn't feel pressure, and just do and wear and feel what makes you feel your best, and feel your best, you know what I mean, and don't hurt yourself, and when we're trying to modify or present in a certain way and it's hurting us, don't think that that's the only way that you can be and the only way that you can exist and navigate. And I just really appreciate the whole conversation. I think we definitely got into a lot of some of the other things that kind of go along with taking, like, body surgery, body modification, makeup, facial hair, body hair, and all of those are things that we're all navigating and facing every day. So I definitely appreciate it, and I don't know. I just want people to be happy.
And
God meant for us to be naked and not to be judging each other. That's what God meant for us. We made it into something else. Okay. That is what God meant for us. It don't matter. It don't matter what nobody got. It don't matter what they don't got. It don't matter none of that. It don't matter. You know what I'm saying? Just do you, be happy, trust yourself, follow yourself. Don't follow somebody else, and don't follow a voice. Follow yourself.
Yes, and I would piggyback off that in my closing statements is, like, you do not need to be a slave to the binary. You do not need to be a slave to these rules of what your womanhood can be. You can be free. You can present your womanhood however you want. Also, like, release yourself from the idea that you have to be perfect, and you have an idea of what you want to be, and so how you want to navigate the world. And I'm pretty sure you may see that reflection in other people. So you can, if you want to be a butch masculine woman, you can do that as a trans woman too. If you want to be a high femme girl, you can do that as well. You can be however you want, but make sure you are not harming yourself and looking down on yourself when you don't reach a goal, or don't live up to even your own ideals around how you're supposed to navigate the world. And also give that same grace to other people when they are not, give them a grace to know that their standard of what a woman is, their standard of who a woman can be and how they're supposed to be present to the world, it is maybe different than yours. And so what you see as ideal and perfection may not be, they may think, they may not even be like, oh, I don't like that. There may be something totally different. Give them the same grace when it comes to your judgment, when it comes to how you look at them. And I think that kind of grace allows us to be tender to our own community, and allows us to heal and build a bond and build a sisterhood, and dismantle that kind of cattiness that we see when somebody don't got breasts, when somebody is a little hard and got a little cut on their arm because they ain't been on moan long enough, or they look a little toned, and might got a little jawline that's a little bit harder than the normal woman's, or whatever. Head is a little bit bigger. That brow bone that they ain't got shaved down because they ain't got FFS. All these things that we can kind of hone in on to make us make other trans women feel masculine or feel less than the woman. We have to really, really be tender, because I think that's important to us, building a community that trusts each other, building a community that heals each other, being a community that leads to our liberation and leads to our community social economic status rising. And so be tender and be free of those shackles.
Thank you, God, man. Stop judging women bodies, y'all. Stop judging women bodies. Stop comparing women and trans women to each other. And
let people
stay
be
black
free
and stay blessed, honey. We have a good day and a good week, and we're gonna keep our energy protected in our minds and our bodies. And we love y'all, and we will be back on Thursday with a chat about breaking the gendered binary. So please join us for that. And thank you so much, Diamond. And we'll talk to y'all later.
We'll see y'all. Thanks for watching.
Yay. That was good. It kind of turned into more deeper than what I thought, than where I had initially thought.